This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
By the way, Leon Fresco may have the text of the day on the chat board. He says the Panthers need to hire a Lenny Locksmith to unlock their balls. That sounds about right there. Cam, good morning. We just had a listener who must be incredibly high to compare the Panthers to the early 90s Bills. I was like, how high are you? You know what I mean? I get it. They choked 4 times in the Super Bowl, but that was an awesome team, dude. I mean, that was a freaking I can't call the Panthers an awesome team. You can't even get to the Stanley Cup Finals one time, and you get swept in the second round. Zero comparisons to that Bills. That Bills team doesn't get enough respect, actually.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to, they made it to the championship game. You got to get there for you to get that type of credence. So I'm curious your thoughts, because obviously you do all the South Florida sports fans, the scene here. And so disappointing day, obviously, with the Panthers and the Heat. But if you had a choice of which one fan base you feel, or which team in South Florida sports you feel best about the direction they're going, what would you say?
Always the Heat. They're always fine, bro. They're always fine. It's 25 years, man.
So you still even after last night,
because it's 2-2. It's 2-2. You have 3 games. It's a 3-game set. You keep blowing each other out in each game. This is a franchise that's won 3 titles, has been to the finals 6 times, has been to the Eastern Conference Finals I don't know how many times. In Riley's last 25 years, they've been to the playoffs like 21 times. You got to go macro, not micro, when you look at the Heat. And overall, you're a spoiled ass fan base if you're the Miami Heat, because your team always has a chance, always has a hope. You know what I mean? So with Riley, they have earned that they have a great coach in Spo, they have a great front office, and they constantly bring in players with character that are there to lay it on the line all the time. There's only one way, and they're the only team that has developed what we call a culture, what we call a tradition. And so I love the direction that the Dolphins are going in now, for sure. I like some of the young guys with the Marlins if they actually would spend some money, you know what I mean? But there's nobody like the Heat right now in this town. You know what I'm saying? It's just the track record's there, man. It's a quarter century, bro.
Yeah, you're right. There's something about the proof. Like, obviously, looking forward, you look at things in different elements, but the Heat have just consistently done a year in and year out. So they're the team that you can trust in the South Florida scene. You may have hope about the Dolphins, but look, you can't trust the Dolphins yet, and you certainly can't trust the Marlins. And the Panthers showed you that you can't trust them.
Yeah, so, they're fraud. Total fraud.
The only team that you can trust to be good at year in and year out.
Yep. No, I'm with you there. I got a story that I'm going to talk about later, but now that I have you on, I'm glad that we can talk a little bit about this. And so, last couple of years, I can't say you built an offense for Tua, right? And now I can say you're building an offense for Tua, right? And you're understanding what you have. So now you've got to build around him so you could give him an opportunity to succeed. Well, here I am. I'm going through, my preparation of the show, and I'm looking at one of the headlines at Pro Football Talk, and it says the Broncos are building an offense completely around Russell Wilson. And I'm going, wow, what a concept. Yeah. Hold on. Let me see. Yeah, because, let's play the other side. The good thing about being old like I am,
right?
It's not that my body's falling apart or anything like that kind of stuff, okay? That's the negative shit that goes on. But the good thing is it's called perspective, okay? And I can play this game better than most people. Why? Because I've been covering the Dolphins for 32 years. In comes Jimmy Johnson. So what does he do? Oh, I got Dan Marino. Great. Hey, Dan, I'm trading away Irving Fryer. Hey, Dan, I'm cutting Terry Kirby. Hey, Dan, I'm letting go of Keith Byers. Hey, Dan, you no longer have an audible system. Now you have a check with me system. And for those of you out there that play football 101, when you can audible, you got the entire playbook. You can check
Yep.
out of anything and into anything, from one running play to another running play, from one passing play to another passing play. A check with me is the call comes in and it's this pass play. If you don't like this pass play, you can go to this run play that goes off of this pass play, and that's it. Either or. So you're going to give one of the most dynamic passers in the history of the game. You're going to pare down his offense. And guess what happens? Of course. So we see the same crap now. And now I look at what Mike McDaniel is doing. And I'm just saying, you look at the history of this game. If you want to go against your quarterback and you don't want to cater to your quarterback, well, then you are just burying yourself like Jimmy Johnson did, like Brian Flores did. But Mike McDaniel, and apparently, oh, God, I'm forgetting his funky name, the guy from Green Bay that went over there now in Denver.
Nathaniel Hackett.
Is it Hackett? I thought it was the other guy that had the funky name. All right, so Hackett. So now Hackett's not a tough name. What was the other guy that got a funky name? Where did he go? Some other guy that had.
Yeah, Nathaniel Hackett is the Broncos' new head coach.
What was the other? There was another guy that got a job that had a funky name. I forgot. Well, anyways, so Hackett obviously and company are doing the right thing. They got Russell Wilson, and part of the article is that in Seattle they didn't really do that. Right. Carroll wanted his power running game, this and that. Yep. A running game, which, by the way, did not exist like 60% of the time that Pete Carroll wanted that power running game. Once Marshawn Lynch was gone,
right?
I don't think he had a consistent running game ever again. Actually, it was guys that would, Carson one week, Penny another, whatever. It was just a hodgepodge of a whole bunch of other guys. And so, what a concept! And I saw that article and I said, this is what's gone on throughout the history of time. And you've got to understand what's in front of you. And whether you're Jimmy Johnson or you're Brian Flores, you just can't do that. You will bury yourself. So I like what McDaniel's doing.
It's interesting you mentioned the Russ thing, because if you remember, there was a whole campaign, and I was a part of this campaign the last few years of letting Russ cook. So much of that run-heavy offense seemed like they were hitting their head against a wall when they have an elite quarterback. Now, there are teams
and you're not dominant, anymore. Exactly. When you have Marshawn Lynch and you're punching people in the mouth, I get it, dude.
Right. And so you mentioned the article and the idea of team building around their quarterback. And some people might roll their eyes and say, of course you do. But there are a lot of teams who do not, right? And so you will go to.
I just told you Jimmy Johnson, what he did to Dan Marino, bro.
Exactly. And we can even go talk about your favorite quarterback down there in Tennessee. The Titans offense is built around Derrick Henry.
They built around him.
If Mike Vrabel ever one day said this offense is built around Ryan Tannehill, call him a liar, because he knows that offense is built around Derrick Henry. And so there's I'd probably say, there's at least a third of the NFL whose offense is not built strictly around their quarterback. And so I think when you're building your offense around the quarterback,
but if you have an understanding of who he is,
right,
aka Lamar Jackson,
exactly,
don't make him do what he can't do.
Right.
Make him do what he does, and the Ravens do that. And to their credit, that's genius. Just like Tennessee, they're not making Ryan Tannehill go out there and throw 50 times because they know he can't. So they've got to build it around the monster, because the monster's the monster.
Right.
That's the best way we're going to win. It's an understanding of who you have and how to build it. And that's what I like, that at least you understand what the hell you have so you can build it right.
And it's the modern era of coaching where you have to do that. And it's interesting because you'll hear coaches say it, but they don't believe it. I've heard coaches tell me all the time, oh, well, we do what's best with our player strengths. And then at the same time, they'll tell you that this guy isn't a scheme fit. And it's like, how is this guy not a scheme fit if you're playing to your player strengths? If you're playing to your player strengths and he's a good enough player, then you should be able to make him work in a scheme and not vice versa. And so I think that you're seeing the modern good coaches really adjust and say, hey, I don't care if I have a Lamar Jackson and I'm a pocket passer type coach. I'm going to adjust my coaching style to do what my quarterback does best. And so you do that for Tua. Don't get obsessed with everything that he can't do. Focus on what he can do and maximize that. And I think that's what you hope, and what the early conversation I've heard about Mike McDaniel is going to be. He's watched a lot of his tape. He's seen what he really is good at. He's going to maximize that, try to get the stuff that he may not be excellent in better, but you're going to get a coach who really is focused on making Tua look great rather than complain about what he can and can't do. And I think that helps you. And to be honest, like, I've talked to players, and I think some of them feel like it's overblown, all the talk about Tua and what he can't do. They're like, man, a lot of the things that people say he can't do, we see him do regularly in practice. So I'm not sure. I think that a part of it's the O-line, like we talked about. A part of it what you're asked to do.
Play calling and
all of that.
And play design, bro. Play design is so important, man, in setting things up from one series to another, from one quarter to another. There's an intelligence that's required for that. And that puts your offensive players at a major advantage if you understand what the defense is doing constantly and how they're adjusting and where they're lacking in their adjustments, so you can, attack it. And I think that's what we got now. I think we have one of those cerebral dudes that is going to look at every aspect of the offense and going to try to find a way to give his running game or his passing game some kind of an advantage. So
now I will say about Mike McDaniel.
And by the way, it's Eberflus. They nailed it on the chapter.
Chicago Bears.
He went to the Bears. There you go. That's
Chicago Bears head coach. Yeah, former Colts defensive coordinator went to the Chicago Bears. He's with Justin Fields, so he has a young quarterback too that they have to figure out what they're going to do out there.
I like that kid's moxie. So I don't know if he'll turn into a quarterback, but I like his moxie.
Yeah.
So I think he's a kid that, there's a chance for him, man.
Yep.
I really believe that.
Yeah, I hope so, man. I think there was so much talk about him in pre-draft and people throwing stuff on him. I want to see.
I thought it was a bunch of crap too.
Yeah, I want to see him succeed, and I think he's one of those guys. You get him right system. They brought in the Packers' former quarterback coach to be his OC, and so you got things running with him. And yeah, hopefully they can magnify things with him. Because that's another team where if you get that quarterback right, that market is going to go on fire. Kind of like the Dolphins market. That's a historic market.
They've been waiting for one for 100 years,
exactly.
bro. Since Jim McMahon, bro. Exactly. Jim McMahon was the last badass quarterback that they had.
And that's why, like, obviously the Dolphins have had one more modern than that. But I kind of see some similarities. Because every time you talk to Bears fans, and my dad's a big Bears fan, he will always tell you about the heyday. He'll tell you about the 85 Bears and how we were this and how we were that. And I'm like, dog, I was not born. I know. Right. I'm sure these teams were great. I watched the Super Bowl shuffle.
They were awesome, bro.
My family had all the Super Bowl shuffle and all that on videotape. So I've seen it all. That being said, it's 2022. It's time to and so I look at both of these teams, like the Dolphins and the Bears, and there's a few other teams where you've got top 10 markets and fan bases of historical significance. And so if these teams get good and stay good, then they're gonna have all the national media buzzing. We're gonna be talking about these teams every day on a daily basis. And so I want to see it in Miami so I can stay here. Also want to see it in Chicago because I think it's good for the league. So a lot of it's depending on how these coaching staffs, magnify their quarterbacks, their young quarterbacks.
Yep, I'm with you there. All right, any news? Because it's seems kind of quiet on the Dolphin front. I don't hear good. There's no bad news, but I'm saying any good news out there? Any signings? Any rumblings? Anything? I don't hear a damn thing, dude.
The good news is my golf game is getting better. I have been playing golf this off season, and it's been getting better. Man, it's the quiet part of the season, to be frank. There's not much going on.
Tua giving you tips? Huh? Tua giving you tips?
We never talked about that, but to be frank, I have never played golf with Tua, so I don't know where that came from.
Well, I'm just asking because he's a golfer and you're golfing, so I figured, hey, have you gotten any tips from Tua?
No, I haven't. I know he does golf, and I golf as well, but I do not golf on game days. And no, Tua, call me up if you want to play around, but we have not played around together. So, but no, doing that. I'm actually going to Dolphins OTAs later today because they're having that open for the media. So I will let you guys know if there's anything of significance. But I'm sure it'll just be, seeing a little bit of more of Tua, Waddle, Hill, and some of these new players out there. I'm always looking for something different. So I'm going to see on the defensive side of the ball today and see if there's anything that stands out to me different, because I am eager to see how much Josh Boyer changes. So it's early on, but that's one element that's intriguing to me. But we're really getting towards the end of this sort of off-season phase. They're going to be done the second week of June is when they finish up. So they've really got 2 more weeks. And
your break's finally coming, bro.
It's coming. It's coming. Trust me, I am counting down. They are counting down. I've talked to players, and they already have plans for also. We're almost there. We're gonna have like a mandatory mini camp next week, June 1st and 2nd, and that'll be the closest we see to a full roster and some actual football in a while. But the reality is there's not a lot to glean as far as news or evaluation at this point. It's just seeing a little football.
Did you see that interview that Gesicki did with this guy, Brenneman or something like that, and his praise for Tua and all that good stuff?
No, I didn't.
Okay. All right. I'll send you the link, and then we can talk about it later on in the week. All right. That's what we'll do. What are you working on the NFL Network so people can check you out?
Well, I'm trying to talk to all my bosses. All my bosses are on vacation, probably playing golf myself. So I hit all my bosses up to see what they want of me, and nobody's responded yet. So as of now, I have no assignments. But I'm sure they'll ask me to do some sort of tape TV gig for the night show. We don't have an afternoon show. They're on hiatus right now, so it would just be our morning show or our night show. So I'll probably tape something off of OTAs for that. And then, man, I'll do a couple more weeks of Dolphins, and then it's vacation time. So I have.
By the way, who's going to replace the young lady in the morning?
So they're working on that still. They're working on that. So she's going to do some things. She's not going far away from the NFL. She's going to another network, but they're still recruiting the replacements, man. So we'll see.
That was an emotional goodbye there, bro. She apparently is no life in that building. Apparently, now it's not her look for all that. Apparently, Kay is actually apparently a good person, because that you could tell that she affected people there. So that was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. Right. I don't know if you noticed it. You noticed the same thing. You did, right?
Yeah. I know Kay pretty well. So yeah, she's a big staple on there. And so there's obviously a lot of emotion. There's people around the league who watch the show because of her too. So there's definitely people bummed.
Of course, she's a looker.
There was definitely people bummed overall.
I'm Latin, so I like the other girl, the Hispanic one that's got a lot of curves. What's her name? Oh man, what's her name, bro? Oh, I just saw her in that SI bikini show with she was with Joy out there. What's her name, bro?
Yeah, that's MJ. MJ.
Yes. She's cool. She's got a great.
She's really she's good at her job.
And a looker also in her own way.
She's a former Miami Dolphin cheerleader. I don't know if you knew that. But yeah, she used to work out here too as well. So she's got a great personality. She's like she does. She's good.
Super cool. So she has a great vibe. I wouldn't be surprised if she's doing that morning gig.
So she has her own show at night, and she's out of LA. But who knows?
Oh God, yeah. Oh God, wake up in the morning from LA. Oh yeah, no, that's not gonna work.
Yeah. 4 a.m. calls. I don't know if anybody could be super happy waking up 4 a.m. for being on TV at 4 a.m. You're probably waking up at 2 a.m. 1:32 a.m. to get ready for that.
Especially a woman who's always got it. They always do way more work than we do.
Right.
Holy moly. Yeah, man. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Cameron Wolfe and catch his work there at the NFL Network. Cam, as always, appreciate you, my man. Thank you.
Appreciate you. All right. See you guys.
You got it. That is the Wolf Pack.